So let's get right to it in the talking points memo. Whenever any journalist interviews a president or presidential candidate, there has to be a strategy. All right. Now, I've interviewed 6 presidents, countless folks who wanted to be president over my nearly 50-year career. I know I don't look that old, but I am. So let me break it down for you. And this is important to understand before we get into the specifics of what happened with the Kamala Harris-Bret Baier shootout. So it's like a prize fight. You get in a ring with 2 players, all right? Kamala Harris had a strategy. Bret Baier had a strategy. So we're going to go over which strategy was more effective. But the interviewer, Baier in this case, or me when I do it, has to be thinking about how the candidate or the president is going to answer. What are they going to do? And that prepares you for your reaction. You just can't go in going, it's really methodical. Again, it's like a prize fight. You have to know how to counter punch. Very, very important. Questions are easy. Both sides know what the questions are going to be. Very little surprise here because the race is so well developed at this point. Okay, so the vice president's strategy was obvious. She, I believe, in conjunction with her advisors, decided not to answer any of Bret Baier's questions. She's not going to answer them. He could ask them all day long. She's going to say whatever she wants to say. That was her strategy. And it's a good one because that would force Bret Baier to interrupt her, which is what Kamala Harris wanted. She wanted Baier to lose his cool, to be rude. He wasn't. But he did interrupt. And that brought her around to say what she loves to say. Let me finish. I'm not finished. I'm speaking. Loves that. Because that shows that Kamala Harris is not intimidated by Bret Baier's questions, which she wasn't. She felt going in, she had this right under control. In fact, she was 15 minutes late for the interview, which threw Baier off his game a bit because you get tense. You're going, what is this? They're going to show up? What's going on? And it cuts into the interview window. And that strategy, they were 15 minutes late on purpose. Let's shake them a little bit. All right, you with me so far? So before Kamala Harris even sat down, she knew what she was going to answer every question. All right, now, the interview ran about 28 minutes. Baier asked 10 questions in 28 minutes. The vice president spoke for 17 minutes and 30 seconds. She attacked Trump out of those 17:30 for 8 minutes, 30 seconds, nearly half the time of the interview. Harris attacked Trump, as she always does. Nothing new. Fascists going to send troops to get you. Constitution's going to be flying out the window. The usual stuff. You heard it a million times. Okay. But half the interview was that. And it wasn't any question about Trump. Baier didn't ask one question about Trump. Okay. But whatever Baier asked, it was Trump's a fascist. Okay. So it was very clear what the strategy was. Now, on his side, Baier knew he had to redirect. That's the journalistic cliche. I had to redirect after she wouldn't answer the question. Okay, he knew he had to do it because Fox News is 95% conservative Republican now. Wasn't that way when I was there, but it is now. And the viewers wanted Baier to hammer Kamala Harris. He didn't hammer her, but he did interrupt. And I'll show you in a minute. Okay. And again, Harris wanted that to show she's strong. I am woman, hear me roar, to quote Helen Reddy. But what Bear did not prepare for was the disdain that Kamala Harris had for him and for Fox News, dripping with condescension and, I'm not going to use the word hatred too strong, but ooh, you could feel it. Should have been prepared for that. Bear should have been prepared for that. Now, how you deal with that, and there's only one person in the country who does this on television, and that's me. You narrate what's happening as it's happening. I said this in the debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Trump should have narrated what was happening. So when Kamala Harris dodges a simple question, you, the interviewer, go, "Excuse me, Madam Vice President, with all due respect, you're not even coming close to answering my question. If you don't want to, that's fine. We'll go to another question. But I want to give you another chance. Would you like to answer the question I asked?" That would have thrown Harris off her game. She would not have answered, no matter what he did. But it would have been polite. Bear had to do it polite, but it would have signaled to the audience, hey, we're getting jobbed here. She's not going to answer the question, no matter what. That's called narrating the interview in real time. Now, I've done that for years, okay? I tell people when I was interviewing Donald Trump, I would go to Trump. So you're not gonna tell me what you're gonna do in this situation. And he goes, "That's right, I'm not telling you." That's how you do it. Because you can't force an interview subject to answer. Bear did not do that. And he should have. Okay. But that doesn't mean he did a bad interview. He didn't. He asked the right questions. Who won? I got asked that on the radio today, a lot of radio interviews. Nobody won. Nobody wins these things. Did Kamala Harris get one vote out of that? I don't think so. People are already divided up. They know. To me, I was insulted, and I'll get to that later. I was insulted. I'd like to presidential candidates, both of them, answer direct questions. Don't you want that? I mean, if you don't, you're insulting me. I like, is Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. I like hiking in the woods. You know, if you're talking to another person, you ask them a question and they don't come close to answering it, you usually go, whoa, right? And you just get out of there. Okay, so let's get to facts. I love those facts to back up my analysis. And if you think I'm wrong, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town. Okay, so we are going now to show you exactly what questions Bret Baier asked. Put them up on the screen. For those on the radio, I'll read them. First, how many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the past 3.5 years? No answer. Looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration? No answer. Do you owe the families of Laken Riley and other women who were killed an apology? No answer, no apology. You said repeatedly the border was secure when, in your mind, did it start becoming a crisis? Not even close to being answered. So, are you in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detain illegal aliens to transition to another gender? Or you want to pay for convicts to become girls when they're boys? That's the question. Didn't answer it, says she'll obey the law. Okay. Next question. Why do you think more people say they trust Trump on the economy than they trust you? No answer. Next question. So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently from the Biden administration? I'm going to play you that soundbite. It's eerie. Okay? Didn't answer. 8th question. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward. It's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. What are you turning the page from? Not even close. 9. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished? Now, that was an important question, and she got angry about that question. She wouldn't answer it. And the final question, what do you say to critics? Look at the actions of your administration, say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat. That was wishy-washy. I wouldn't have not gotten into that. That question really, it's hard to take that anywhere. So all of those questions were not answered. So let's, as Warner Wolf used to say, go to the videotape. I'm going to play you 2 evasions. I could play you 10, but I think 2 will make the point. Roll number 1.
So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership.
That's not what the question was. The question was, are you going to do anything differently? Now, Bear should have followed up, and I'm not being a Monday morning quarterback, but this is just obvious. He goes, well, okay, Madam Vice President, we know that you're going to bring a new point of view into the Oval Office, but let's just look at what happened in Afghanistan when you and your boss, Joe Biden, because you agreed with him, surrendered and 13 American military people were killed, and it was an embarrassment worldwide. Would you have done that again? That's what you got to do in those situations. Very, very simple, clear. You're going to repeat Afghanistan? Because I don't think she'd answer it. She'd go into, well, we were there 35 years, we had to get out, and Trump did this and Trump did that. I got it. I know what she's going to do. But as the interviewer, you've got to just tee it up so that there's, it's like, what are you doing? Our second one is about illegal immigration. Go.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but do you, just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So, Brett, blank you, I'm not answering your question. I'm not going to put a number on it because the number is embarrassing. It's about 15 million, and I'm not going to say that because I'm going to say that we need to repair it, but it's not our fault. It's Congress's fault and Trump's fault. It's like, okay, when does the Twilight Zone stop? Let me give you one more because this one offended me greatly. Go.
When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
Well, if he has the judgment and the experience to make very important decisions, what the deuce are you doing there, lady? Okay, he obviously doesn't have it. His own party booted him. But the essence of the question is very, very important because Kamala Harris, and Bear pointed this out, said he was fine and she was dining with him on a consistent basis. No problem with Joe, even after the debate. No, he's fine. Were you lying to us, Madam Vice President? Of course she was lying. There's no other explanation. If George Clooney knew it, you're telling me Kamala Harris didn't know it? But again, the strategy was she can ask you, Kamala, if the moon is full and you say, I like to go swimming. It's not. My policy, it's just insane. Bear kept his cool. I would have been a little testier, but that's me. But I would not have been disrespectful because that leads nowhere. But Bear, he's frustrated. Roll it.
Madam Vice President.
You and I both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
I actually don't. What are you talking about? Look, I knew what she was talking about. It was clear to me from the jump that she was just going to say bad things about Trump and say the word my policy. What policy? $25,000 to every American first-time homebuyer? It's not a policy. That's a fantasy. That'll never happen in a million years. It can't happen. It's unconstitutional. Nobody can fund it. It couldn't possibly happen. My policy. It's not a policy. You can't do it. That'd be like me running for president saying, I'm going to cure everybody of diabetes. If you elect me, I'm coming to your house if you have diabetes, and I'm going to cure you. That's my policy. That's how insane this whole thing is. And I'm not exaggerating. This is absolutely true. It's so true that it's harrowing. Once again, Kamala Harris is the most far-left candidate ever to run for president and feels no responsibility at all to define anything. Okay, let's go to narcissism. I cannot say that Donald Trump or Kamala Harris are narcissists. I can't. That's irresponsible of me. I wrote in the United States of Trump, my book on him, which is a very fair book, that he doesn't admit mistakes. And his own son, and I quoted him, Don Jr., said, look, he sees that as weakness. Even if he makes a mistake, he knows he made a mistake, but he's not going to admit it because that does not help him. All right. Kamala Harris is exactly the same thing. Biden administration made no mistakes. She's had opportunity after opportunity to say, maybe we should have done Afghanistan a little bit differently. Maybe we should have done inflation a little bit differently and not hammered the fuel companies and the oil companies so that prices rose. Maybe we should have done it a little bit differently, right? No, never. Never admits a mistake. Everything was fine. Even though the approval rating for Biden when he dropped out of the race is 38%. But they didn't make any mistakes. You know people like this. I know people like this. It's called narcissism. Many of our presidents have been narcissists. If you read Confronting the Presidents, you'll see it. So anyway, the situation last night to the voter, you, me, was kind of insulting. Why bother going into that? If you have so much disdain for Fox News, why bother? We got nothing out of it, learned nothing as far as your policy is concerned. We did learn that you're not going to answer any questions and that you don't think the Biden administration did anything at all wrong. That's what we learned. Now, if you're going to vote for that, you're going to vote for that. Let's sum up. So Bear should have anticipated he was going to get stonewalled. He should have narrated in real time. Not a criticism of Bear. Nobody else does it in the country but me. All right? So I stand alone in that. Kamala Harris, her strategy, I said this before, she's a disciplined woman. She carried out that strategy. They all got together, the advisors and her, and said, this is what we're going to do. Attack, 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 attack. No answers. Carried it out. And who lost? The United States of America. That's the memo. Reaction was predictable, and you knew it would be. I knew it would be. I'm going to use two sound bites here. Roll number one.
I saw a little bit of the panel after the interview, and one woman said that she came in hot and also said that she became angrier. I thought he came in hot. And what I am very tired of is this trope of the angry black woman. She was not angry. She was in command of the facts. She was passionate. Passion does not equal anger. I'm often called, Donald Trump actually called me dumb at a rally recently. You have these tropes that are used against women and women of color in particular. And I did not see a dumb woman. I did not see an angry woman. I saw a woman who understands what is at stake.
All right, here comes the race aspect. Now, Hillary Clinton got it worse than Kamala Harris. Is she black? No. It doesn't have anything to do with gender. It doesn't have anything to do with skin color. It has to do with, and command of the facts. What facts? I didn't hear one fact. other than, an opinion that trumps Hitler. All right, here's a second bite. Go.
Why are you asking the Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States to dime out her boss? We all know he was cognitively a little bit, a step back, to say the least. We're trying to be kind and respectful here.
Why are you asking? Because of deception. That's why. I mean, if she's going to mislead the American public about the mental health of Joe Biden, which she absolutely did, you don't see that as a legitimate question, Stephen A? You think that's dropping a dime? You don't want people to be honest, holding the highest office of the land? Come on. All right, it's Trump's reaction on social media. Great job by Bret Baier in the interview. She has a massive and irredeemable case of derangement syndrome. So bad, in fact, barely able to talk about any subject other than the man who had the best economy ever, the strongest border in history, and who just got unanimous endorsement of the U.S. Border Patrol, me. That was the Border Patrol union, but most of the agents are in that union, so that's accurate. Okay, that's Trump's reaction. All right, if you have any questions about the Q&A, we'll answer them on Monday. Again, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, bill@BillO'Reilly.com. We like your questions. I mean, we want you to participate in this with us. I believe you just got the best analysis in the world about that interview. And if I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong, all right? Because unlike some people, I will admit mistakes if they are pointed out to me. Okay.